Welcome to Learn It, a series of digital scrapbooking tutorials by Studio Wendy at Scrapbook Graphics. Today we're going to be looking at the Scrap It actions and how to use them to quickly create some year in review pages. These are fantastic for Project 365, Project 52, or even just monthly summaries that you want to include in your albums or photo books. Your download came with 4 different versions of this action. Each version came with its own template. There's a 30 layout version, a 52 version, an 84 version, and a 100 version. You'll notice on the 52 and the 100 templates that they're more conducive to vertical photos. The 30 and 84 are perfect for square images or photos, and they work really well if you want to do a layout summary, a summary of all your layouts for that month or year. So to get started, you'll want to install the actions. You can see my PDF tutorial on doing that to install it for your version of Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. Today we'll be using Photoshop Elements to look at running this action, but it works very similarly in Photoshop. I also highly recommend that you prepare your images or photos in advance. Find all the ones that you want to include on this layout, put them in a folder that's really easy to get to. On a Mac, you can put a folder of images right on your desktop, and as the action runs, you'll have them all in one spot to grab really quickly. So let's get started by opening up the template that came with the download. You want to make sure that you have the correct template for the action that you're running. I'm going to be using the 84 version template for this tutorial today. So here we are in Photoshop Elements. If you come over here to your Effects panel and you click on this third button here, you'll see this drop-down menu. If you click on the drop-down menu, you'll get a list of all the different categories of actions that you have installed. In this case, you want to look for the Scrap It Year in Review category, and when you do, you'll see all the little thumbnails here pop up for the action. If you look closely at these, you'll notice that there's the all-in-one action, and then there's batches of 10. Now, a lot of users that don't have a whole lot of RAM might run into issues with the file quitting if they try to use the all-in-one, so that's why we've broken it up here into chunks of 10. The all-in-one action will also save after every 10 images you've added, so if it does crash on you, hopefully you won't lose too much work. Just to show you how it gets started, we're going to click on the 1 through 10 action and click Apply. We'll get a little message here that says this is for papers and photos numbers 1 through 10, and that it works with the Daily Digi Year in Review template, and to make sure it's open. And it reminds you to prepare your 84 square layouts or images and 2 papers and put them where you can find them. Press Continue, and the action is going to first prompt us to save a copy so that we're not working over the original template. When it comes up here, I'm going to call this my Year in Review 84, and I'm going to put it right in here with my photos. I like to save in TIFF format because it keeps the file size smaller. Because this action does take up a lot of memory, I highly recommend that you close out of any other programs that you don't need to run if you run into any trouble. Here are the option settings. To get the smallest file sizes, you want to choose LZW compression, Macintosh, and down here zip for slower saves and smaller files, and press OK. Now that the file is done saving, we will be prompted to choose a paper for the border. By the border, it means this little frame here that's going behind the images. So press Continue. So press Continue, and this window will pop open here to allow you to select your paper. I've pre-selected 2 papers here. Let me see which one this is by clicking this image view icon here. There we go. That's the one I want to use for my border, so I'm going to say Open. The action is going to open this, copy it, paste it into this document, enlarge it to fill out that double frame, and then clip it to the frame layer. Now the action is prompting me to choose a background paper. I'm going to go ahead and select the background paper I want to use and click Open. The action will copy it into our file here. It will move it all the way over to the left, Make a copy, flip it, and move it to the right. After it's done with that, we are going to be prompted to start placing our photos. We're going to do them in numerical order, starting with 1 and going all the way to 10. So press continue, and you'll be prompted to select your first photo. If you name your photos in order ahead of time, they'll be super easy to find and to keep up with the action. It's going to copy it, paste it, and attempt to position it in your file. If, for some reason, you don't see the image showing up, press Command Option or Control Alt minus on your keyboard, and you'll be able to zoom out. If you press plus, you'll be able to zoom in until you can see your image. Then you'll be able to easily drag it around if you want to and position it where you need it to be. In Photoshop, if you hold down the Shift key when you click one of the control handles here, you can resize it proportionally so that it won't get distorted. In Elements, starting with, I believe, version 7, you no longer have to hold the Shift key. It will automatically keep it proportional just by clicking and dragging. So get your image where you want it, and you can either press Enter, Function Return, or in Elements you can click this green little check mark. It will go ahead and prompt you for the second image. And we're just going to go along here and place in our images 1 through 10. If you're using layouts or square images, they should fall pretty closely in place. If you're using photos or other size images, you may have to go hunt and find the image and move it around a little bit into the proper position. So I've only chosen 4 photos here for the purpose of this tutorial, so I'm just cycling through them. I should mention while I'm doing this that these papers I chose were from the Impressions of Comfort at Home kit available at Scrapbook Graphics. Once you've got 10 images placed, you're going to be prompted to save it again. I'm going to put it right back over the previous file and say replace. Once the file is saved, that action number 1 through 10 will be complete, and then you can move on to 11 through 20, 21 to 30, and so on and so forth. So here we are finishing up the last of our photos. Working on the 70s. If you make a mistake as you're going along, you accidentally pick the wrong image, in Photoshop you would be able to stop, undo it, and pick right back up where you left off. In Elements, it's best to just continue on forward and fix it later at the end when the action is complete. Another tip, if you are having problems with the actions slowing down, taking a long time to save, or even occasionally crashing because of the high amount of memory that this takes up, you can always merge your layers after each of the batches of actions. Merge only the layers that have already been done, and only if you are ready to commit to that and you don't think you'll want to make changes later. Okay, here we are. There's number 84. When number 84 is done, the action is going to add a text box at the very top for you to add a title, and then you'll be free to embellish it by adding any other elements or journaling or whatever you want right onto the page. And within a few minutes, you have managed to create a double page layout with 84 photos in pretty quick time. Thank you for watching this episode of Learn It. You can find more tutorials by Studio Wendy at Scrapbook Graphics.